While scrolling through Twitter this morning, I saw some interesting discussions about whether this season will be considered a failure if we don't manage to win a single trophy. So that made me think, if we fail to win anything this year, will it really be a failure for Mikel Arteta and the club? Let's discuss. But before we start, like always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Look, first things first, I know many of you won't agree with me, but I'm just gonna say it. Even if we end this season without a single trophy, I would still support this project and Mikel Arteta. Unless something drastically changes till May. Something like, I don't know, we get hammered by Porto in the Champions League, and I don't know, we drop out of the Champions League places in the league. Then we would be having a different conversation. And by the way, don't worry, I didn't forget that we already won a trophy this season, Community Shield in August, but yeah. I mean, a trophy is a trophy, of course, but still, in this video, we are talking about the major trophies, you know, the big ones. Champions League, Premier League. I would even put FA Cup in that category, but we already dropped out from that competition, so it's only Europe or League for us at the moment. Okay, now let me explain. What do I mean when I say I wouldn't be angry or mad if we finish this season without any silverware? If we give Manchester City and Liverpool, two clubs that are currently probably the biggest favorites for the title, a proper push, and we battle it out with them for the title till the very end, till, I don't know, game week 35, game week 36, I could live with that. I could live with that because then I would remain confident in this squad, in this manager, and this whole project and vision. And that would probably mean that we are still on the right path. Listen, we talked about this a million times already. We are having the youngest starting 11 in the league this season, if I'm not mistaken. And to even be at this point, fighting for the title, second season in a row, against juggernauts that are Manchester City and Liverpool, clubs that have some world-class veterans, superstars in their team with all the experience in the world. You know who I'm talking about. Kevin De Bruyne, Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, etc., etc. It's a remarkable achievement for us, even if we don't win anything this season. Let me remind you once again, all of our players, or better said, players that should carry this club on the field for the next 5 to 10 years, are still extremely young. Bukayo Saka, 22 years old. Gabriel Martinelli, 22 years old. Martin Odegaard, 24. Declan Rice, 25. William Saliba, 22. And so on and so on. And these players are key pieces of this whole project. This project is built around them. And to see how young they still are, and the things they are already doing on the pitch, it's phenomenal. Simply phenomenal. Most of these guys are still, 5, 6, 7 years away from their prime. And they are already reaching those world-class levels. So my point is, it wouldn't be the end of the world if we don't win the Premier League title this season. But what would be the end of the world, for Mikel Arteta at least, would be if we completely fall off and end up finishing 5th or 6th or 7th in the league. But I don't think that could happen to us. There's just too much quality and momentum and, well, I guess you could say experience in this squad already. Although this is still a young squad, but they already know how it is to play under pressure and how important it is to give your best in every single game. It's not the end of the road if we don't win the title this season, of course, but we must see that the team, including our manager, has the right mindset, hunger, and ambition to become even better next season and finally win us that long-awaited title. That's the most important part for me. If this bad run of games happens again, when we, before Crystal Palace, had 1 win in 7 games, if that happens again to us this season and we lose our spot in the top 4, then we'll have to talk about the manager and is he the right man for the job? 100%. Especially if we see another shock exit from Europe, like we've seen for these past few years when we played in Europa League. And we were all thinking that it would be an easy run and easy road to the final. We know what happened, so I won't go back there. But speaking of Europe, let's now talk about the Champions League, our second remaining trophy this season. As we already know, we are playing against Porto in the round of 16, a tough opponent, good team, we shouldn't underestimate them, they can easily surprise us, they will definitely be on their best level against us, they will be fired up, they will want to prove a point against a strong team like Arsenal, so all in all, I expect it to be a difficult game. Even though I've already seen some of our fans talking about who will we play in the next round. Give us Real Madrid, give us Bayern Munich, give us Inter Milan. Look, step by step, we've been here before, you know, when we all thought, oh, this is going to be easy for us, no stress. And we all know how it usually ended. But still, I have to be realistic. We are the favorites against Porto, obviously. We are a much better team, much better squad, and it would be a complete shock for me if we somehow lose that tie and drop out of Europe. Now, I'm going to say something that may sound ridiculous, but I firmly believe in that. I think we have a better chance to win the Champions League this season than to win the Premier League title. I've already said it a million times. In my opinion, it is harder to win the league title than to win the Champions League or some other European trophy. And I know, you will now say, oh, but Arsenal never managed to win the Champions League. And that's true. That's our problem. How we still haven't won it, I have no idea. Especially after having all those great, legendary teams. But I don't want to go there. Let's stay in the present. I mean, it is much harder for any team to win the Premier League, where basically every club currently has in some way unlimited resources. And they are buying so many great players every year. Every club, from top to bottom. And they are constantly upgrading their squads. And you have to be the best team over the course of 38 games, and every single team in the league can hurt you right now, due to the sheer level of quality that basically every team has in today's league. Knockout tournaments are easier to win. You can get lucky and, for example, we now have to beat Porto in the round of 16, right? And then, I've just checked, let's say PSV Eindhoven will beat Borussia Dortmund. And then, after you've beaten Porto, you will get lucky and you will draw PSV Eindhoven next. And then you beat them, and then you will probably have to play against a world-class team in the semis, like, I don't know, let's say Inter Milan, because they were in the final last year. And if we manage to beat Inter Milan, for example, your first, let's call it serious opponent in the knockout stages over 2 games, you are in the final, just like that. And then everything can happen in the final. It doesn't matter who you play against. It's completely open. Everything's on the table. It doesn't have to be PSV Eindhoven in the quarterfinals. Let's say Borussia Dortmund goes through in that game. Then you will have to play Borussia. I mean, look, I know that this is a simplified way of looking at things and the whole competition and everything. But still, it could happen. It doesn't have to be PSV Eindhoven in the quarterfinals. Let's say Borussia Dortmund goes through in that game. Then you will have to play Borussia. You see what I'm saying? You get my point, right? I really think that this current Arsenal team has all the right qualities to go all the way in the UCL this year. I really do. And like I said, in my opinion, it will be much easier for us to win the Champions League than to win the English Premier League when you are fighting against these other juggernauts every week. But to get back to my previous point, I completely drifted away from the topic. If we manage to get to the semifinals of the competition and then lose against, I don't know, Real Madrid, I could live with that. And there would be no one to blame for that. Their squad is way more experienced, they won it all in the past, they know how to play these games, they have some great players in their starting 11, some world-class players, they also have great options on the bench, their depth is excellent. I mean, do I really need to continue? I can understand if we lose against a team like that, and I definitely wouldn't say our season is a failure if that happens. If you drop out of the UCL against a top team, and we end up 3rd or 4th in the Premier League, but knowing that we really gave our maximum and we did everything we could to stay in the title race till the end. If you think that would be a failure of a season while we are having the youngest team in the league, then I'm sorry, but Arsenal is probably not a right club for you and you should go and support someone else. Let's be realistic, it would be a good season and we would have something on which we can build our next season. All of our players will probably get even better and they will have a bit more experience. If we drop out of the top 4, and lose our UCL spot for the next season while we are at the same time dropping out of Europe against Porto or some other weaker team in the quarterfinal, then that would be a complete failure. Let's keep it 100. That would be a complete disaster on so many levels. But as far as I'm concerned, I think there is no way that this could happen to this team. There, that's it, that's all. So tell me, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Or do you think that this season would be considered a failure if we don't win a single trophy? Write down in the comments. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.